Well, this is something new that I'm trying. I've never actually attempted to record myself, for anything, let alone for a class, so we'll see how this project goes. But we're going to start off with the movie that we just watched in class, Amandala, I believe is how it's pronounced, which was about song, dance, not so much dance, but mostly song in South Africa during the apartheid era, and how it was both a form of, what song represented to the oppressed, and how it was, a form of media, if you will. Um, this documentary was a very moving experience because you got to see the blatant racism that was occurring in South Africa during you know the early part of starting the early part in the 1900s and going all the way up to late 90s, and it's something that as Americans we're not exactly exposed to, so we only have a glossary view of apartheid, but you could really see the level of racism that was embedded in the society and how those in that were oppressed really responded. Um, and in South African culture, song was a you know, major factor of life. So, song really became a form of resistance. It became the media of resistance. And one thing that's really stuck out to me was how song was both simultaneously a form of resistance, but it also gave hope to the community. It was a way to strike back at the oppressor, but it also gave encouragement to the oppressed. In cheery terms, songs would be sung about "I am going to kill you" in the local language, but then it also gave, another song right afterwards, say "Stay strong," you know, this will end, and it will give, people, hope. One thing that was interesting to me, coming from a political science background, is how many of the leaders of the resistance in the South African movement were the songwriters, and how they became the ones with the power in the local communities. So they were the singers, the songwriters, they were the ones who gathered the community around and gave them hope. And the South African government really responded heavily with the prisons, the executions of those writing the songs and singing the songs. So that was very interesting to see how song was used in that was used as a form of media in that same group. But on the other hand, those same songs were something that were very scary to the oppressors. And the scene that really stuck out to me was the one with the South African security police, saying how they didn't understand what the songs were about, and it scared them. The very act of singing was alien to them, and singing in protest of a song that basically was saying I'm going to kill you really scared them down to the core. So a lot of the younger police force, you know, their nerves were very straight when you had thousands upon thousands of South Africans protesting in your face, and it was something that even scared the core of the veterans. But at the same time, these teenagers were brought up by the people, the very people that they were oppressing. They were raised by the oppressed, and at the turn of the switch, they were just supposed to go from a caregiver or one receiving care to oppressing that very person the next day. And there was that whole interesting dichotomy of there's the love there, treating the child as your own, or the child seeing the person as a parental figure, and then the next day, almost like magic, hating that very person, um, which was very, very interesting. I don't know if there's any direct comparison to U.S. you know thoughts. I guess that going back to the 1800s perhaps, but anyway, relating this back to the readings, um, you could really see how media, in this case song, was a way to get the community involved and bring people together. Um, if, from an anthropological point of view, I would say that understanding how media related in group context is key to understanding some of the subculture of the oppressed in South Africa, and how song was used, to rally the community and to give hope. I'm gonna pause here.